Should Milford allow the establishment of retail marijuana shops in town, or should those retail shops be banned? That is the topic that has received enormous debate around town for the last several months. Finally, residents will have their chance to decide on the future of marijuana shops within their community in a special election that will take place this Tuesday, September 19th. Many of our member-produced shows have given you the chance to hear both sides weigh in on the topic. Tonight we'll provide you one final chance to hear the arguments both for and against the establishment of retail marijuana shops in Milford. Here now with their arguments are Brian Cole from Milford Citizens for Fairness and Donna Nero from Milford Cares.
Milford Cares came together as a group of citizens who had been researching and following the legalization and commercialization of recreational marijuana in other states. As we became more informed, we were compelled to come together as a more organized group, and therefore we formed a ballot question committee. We are now a larger, very diverse group comprised of local officials, community leaders, subject matter experts, local clergy, and business owners in town. Our mission is to share credible, fact-based, research-driven data with as many residents as possible to inform Milford citizens about the impacts of recreational marijuana industry.
There's two things up for debate here. One is the question of should we regulate and control adult use cannabis? But I mean, equally important is the issue of transparency in government. You know, we at Milford Citizens for Fairness feel that the entire process behind the referendum, behind the change in the wording, has lacked transparency and has been pushed along by a small group. You know, contrary to the will of the almost 7,000 people who came out and voted for recreational marijuana last fall in the presidential election.
So what we see is the impacts of allowing recreational pot shops in Milford is harm to the health, safety, and integrity of the community. From a public health perspective, we would be normalizing the use of yet another drug substance in a community that is already ridden with an opioid crisis that we're trying to fight. Also, that normalization is going to lead to the false perception that that marijuana is safe to use. And just because something is legalized doesn't imply that it's safe.
It's phrased a lot as bringing recreational marijuana in, and that's a little misleading. You know, Gallup polls have shown 13% of Americans use recreational marijuana now. Marijuana is here. Marijuana is not coming. It's already here. We are already dealing with it as a community. If, regardless of what the outcome is on September 19th, recreational marijuana can be purchased by residents of Milford and enjoyed in Milford. The only thing we're doing with a yes vote is we're forfeiting any chance to have any say in how it's regulated, have any say in how it's marketed, ensure that quality standards are met, ensure that you know, the marketing is away from minors, which we all agree is important, and we're forfeiting any possible benefits in terms of tax revenues and jobs.
In communities that host pot shops, there is a significant increase in use among teens because it's more easily accessible, more available. So they are at a higher risk. And then when we talk about products such as edibles, and 50% of the products sold in Colorado, for example, are in the edible form. Those products contain very high levels of THC. 30 to 40% THC can be found in those edible products that are marketed to look like everyday products we would see on our grocery store shelves. THC is a psychotropic agent in marijuana. And the edibles, as I said, come in many forms, such as candy, brownies, cookies, pizza, soda. And so these products that look like our mainstream products can very easily get into the hands of unsuspecting children and adults for that matter. These products are also very easy to pass around on the school bus, in the cafeteria, at the playing field, and we don't want to encourage that.
And as far as safety elements go, I think for one thing, the laws that have come out of the State House since the initial referendum back in November have done a very good job of explicitly laying out strict limits on the amount of THC products can contain, on strict limits on packaging, on making sure that edibles are separate and easily identifiable as such. And I think by working with legal sellers, who of course are incentivized to follow those laws or they'll lose their licenses, we have a better chance of ensuring the safety of our community.
Of vital concern is the safety of Milford residents. It is documented that there is a significant increase in motor vehicle accidents and actually in the cost of auto insurance in communities that host recreational marijuana pot shops. Currently, there aren't any reliable field sobriety tests. Therefore, it makes it very difficult to arrest and prosecute drivers who are operating under the influence of marijuana. Since 2011, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation reported that the percentage of drugged driving has increased 42%, while over the same time period, the number of alcohol-related incidents has increased only 26%. This availability of marijuana, or the increased availability of marijuana, would further exacerbate those figures.
Just from existing medical marijuana establishments, again, testing facilities, cultivators, things like that, right now, those companies employ about 60 people, maybe 70 people in Milford. We estimate, as they expand into adult use, that will increase to close to 300. Now, on top of that, there's property taxes and business taxes and so forth, but there's also the community use agreements that they have to sign. We estimate that those agreements, just from the businesses that are already here, leaving aside shops still, will bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for the town of Milford.
Recreational marijuana continues to be an illicit drug at the federal level. Therefore, there is no oversight by the FDA, and we don't have any regulatory body that controls recreational marijuana at the federal level. We also don't have the protection of the FDIC for monetary transactions. It is very difficult for establishments to secure bank loans or lines of credit. Therefore, this leads to the prevalence of cash transactions. As a result of these cash transactions, there's a significant increase in robberies, both in the form of cash and in the form of product.
The discussion has been a lot about cannabis and, is cannabis a gateway drug and what are the benefits of retail cannabis and so forth. But this is not just about that. If you are ambivalent or you're unsure about cannabis, there are still good reasons to vote no. Voting no allows the businesses who are already here to continue to operate, to expand, and to continue bringing in jobs and revenue to the community. We feel that the ballot process has lacked transparency, as I said at the top. We feel that the community has already spoken out for this last November, and we want to ensure that the people's rights are respected and taken into account.
My husband and I are lifelong Milford residents, and we have both been active in our community. We've raised our 4 children here, and we would like to see Milford to continue to attract people who want to participate in all of the wonderful things that Milford has to offer. such as the Claflin Hill Symphony Orchestra, our Upper Charles Trail, the Milford Regional Medical Center, our fireworks at the 4th of July, Woodland School. We're so fortunate to have the largest elementary school in the state. So these are the things that we want people to come to Milford for. We don't want to be known as that destination pot shop.
We thank both organizations for sharing their opinions. Ultimately, the decision falls on you, the residents of Milford. On your screen right now is a sample version of the ballot you will see when you travel to the polls on Thursday. The ballot question reads, shall the town of Milford adopt amendments to the zoning bylaw as set forth below, which amendments would prohibit the operation of all types of recreational marijuana establishments as defined in Mass General Law, including marijuana cultivation, marijuana testing facilities, marijuana product manufacturing, marijuana retailers, or other types of licensed marijuana-related business within the town of Milford. Below the ballot question, you will find the text of the zoning bylaw. This section simply shows the bylaw that would be brought forth should residents vote yes to ban retail marijuana shops. It shows that under this bylaw, 0 marijuana establishments would be allowed in any district within the town of Milford. Below the text of the zoning bylaw is a summary of the Mass General Law. Within that summary, it stresses that an affirmative vote would not prohibit medical marijuana establishments. Finally, at the bottom of the ballot is where you cast your vote. A yes vote would ban the establishment of retail marijuana shops in the town of Milford. A no vote would allow for the retail shops to be established. So to put it as simply as possible, if you are opposed to marijuana shops, your vote would be yes, and if you are in favor of marijuana shops, your vote would be no. The Milford Special Town Election is being held on Tuesday, September 19th. The polls open at 8 a.m. and will remain open until 8 p.m. If you live in precincts 1 or 6, your polling location is the Senior Center. If you live in precincts 2 or 3, your polling location is the Italian American Veterans Hall. And if you live in precincts 4, 5, 7, or 8, your polling location is the Portuguese Club. This is Milford TV News and Sports Director Tim Coet. Make sure you check out new editions of the Milford Informer every Friday at 7:30 p.m. or during one of our 8 convenient re-air times throughout the weekend. You can also find individual news stories as well as full archived editions on our YouTube page, My Milford TV. If you live in the greater Milford area and have an idea for a news story, you can tweet at us using the handle @Milford_TV, or you can contact me directly by sending an email to news@milfordtv.net.